What if you could have a career where the opportunities are as vast as our nation, where it's not about mission statements, but a shared mission? At U.S. Customs and Border Protection, we go beyond to protect more than borders. From ship to shore, air to ground, cities to local communities, CBP agents and officers are keeping people safe. Join U.S. Customs and Border Protection and go beyond for something far greater than yourself. Learn more at cbp.gov/careers.
Hello and welcome to the Paddock and The Pavilion with Stephen Wallace. In each show, Stephen will interview someone connected to the world of horse racing or cricket.
Hello everyone. On today's show, I am back with Harry Vaheesan, the Director of Cricket and Team Manager of the Jaffna Kings, who last month won the Lanka Premier League for the third year in a row. The former coach of Marchtown Cricket Club in Cambridgeshire and Cambridgeshire junior sides was in a relaxed mood when I spoke to him at his home in Sri Lanka. Hello and congratulations, Harry, on win number 3.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Well, this is becoming a regular chat on the Paddock and the Pavilion when you win 3 tournaments out of 3. What's the secret?
I don't know. It's hard work and perseverance, I would say.
So were the team well prepared?
Yes, we were very well prepared. I think we had the strongest team on paper, but saying that we had to go in the middle and perform, which we did as well.
Well, I wanted to start by talking about the final. Colombo Stars were put in by the Jaffna Kings. They scored 163 for 5, and the Jaffna Kings won with 4 balls to spare, 164 for 8. An exciting game. Was it quite nervous there on the bench?
Yeah, right at the end, it became a bit nervous, but I was quietly confident throughout, as usual. But saying that losing 8 wickets was too much of a pressure, really. We shouldn't have got that close. With 4 or 5 wickets, we should have won about 2 overs to spare. But somehow that's the beauty of the game, and it took it to the last over.
Yeah, noting here, the Jaffna Kings lost 1 wicket in the 17th over, 2 in the 18th, and 1 in the 19th to get home, as I said earlier, with 4 balls to spare.
Yes, Stephen. As you stated, yes, we lost 1 in the 17th, 2 in the 18th, and 1 in the 19th. That's why I said we should have finished it with at least 2 overs to spare, at least 1.5 overs to spare, and 4-5 wickets in hand. But it became very close, and perhaps nerves set in with the players in the middle. But I was quietly confident, as I said.
Not as many runs as the 2 previous finals in 2020 and 2021.
Yes, I think the wicket was more difficult, and the Colombo wicket is not conducive to big runs as such, which we saw it last season when we played the initial games there. Saying that the wickets were better this year, but not 200 plus wickets as such.
So did you think the target of 164, well, you got the runs, but it was a fair target?
I would have expected about 180, 160 plus was a relatively easy target, which we made it difficult, I would say.
I mean, you went off to a blistering start with Gurbaz, the player for Afghanistan, who hit 36 in 18 balls.
Absolutely, yes. That is the start which really pulled us through, really. But then we had a partnership in between Avishka Fernando and Sadira Samaravikrama, both of whom were included in the Sri Lankan squad after the LPL final. Overall, yes, that was the main reason for us going through, I would say.
Yeah, both the batsmen you just mentioned there, Avishka Fernando and Sam Wickrama, were 2 of the leading scorers in the tournament.
I think they were number 1 and number 2. Sadira got the man of the tournament because of his keeping as well. And notably, Avishka Fernando was the man of the tournament last year.
Yeah, and Avishka Fernando, I looked up, has scored the most runs in the history of the Lanka Premier League.
Yes, that's correct. Even the first year, he was very effective. So we have had a very good player in him all 3 years.
And your role this year, no bubbles, that must have been a relief.
Yes, indeed. Yes, without bubbles, it was very much easier and which was very good. We were able to move around a bit. In fact, my family was able to come and stay with me as well, if and when needed. So it was good. Yes, without the bubble was a very big plus point.
So were your family able to get to the final, which finished again very late?
Yes, indeed. Last year as well as this year, although there was a bubble last year, they were able to watch the final live. And yes, this year as well, they were with me. Yes, not with the team. Obviously, we have what do you call anti-corruption rules, so the family can't be with the team as such. But yes, they were in the ground. Yeah.
And what was it like working again with the players? You know, people like Shoaib Malik and Tisara Pereira, the captain.
Yeah, it was fabulous. It's so easy and it has become a cakewalk almost now because 3 years in a row that these two players plus there are other players who have been in the team as well. And we have set in very well. The coaching staff has been the same, almost 95%, except for one coach who had to leave last year due to national duties. He has joined back as well. So it has become really a family, and I call it the family of Lanka's Jaffna Kings.
And this year's tournament, as well as the Colombo Stars and the Jaffna Kings, 3 other teams, the Kandy Falcons, the Gaul Gladiators and the Dambulla Ura, you had quite a few changes at Jaffna. Only 5 players, I noticed, in the final played in the team of 2021.
Yeah, that is mainly because that's the way the system works. So due to that reason, we had overall, I had about 8 to 10 players who have been in the Jaffna team in the squad. So that helped as well. But 5 players, but then we had very good players coming in to compensate for the players whom we lost.
And you lost star spin bowler Hasaranga. That must have been a big loss.
I wouldn't. Yes, in one sense, it's a big loss. But saying that we had alternatives in the way of young Vijayakant Vyaskanth from Jaffna itself. The first 2 years, he played a handful of games and did well. He was almost a furniture of the team this year, except for we resting him at times. And then we had Sri Lankan left-arm orthodox all-rounder Dunith Wellalage, the teenage sensation. So these 2 players together were able to fill in the vacuum of one India.
And do you think then the basis of the team's win in the tournament was based around that, the slow bowling and the batting, the top 3 in the batting order?
Thinking about it, yes, I would say so. The spin and the batting was the one which really pulled us through. But there were occasional performances by the fast bowlers as well.
Because in the group you won 6 of the 8 matches, but I checked up and there was quite a lot of close games.
Yeah, there were quite a few close games, but that's how the 2020 tournament pans out to be. So on that basis, as I always say, I was pretty confident that we will go through and get through to the playoffs. And then once you get to the playoffs, it's up to the team to perform again, which they did really well.
Yeah, and in the playoffs, you played Kandy Falcons, who had won the group, winning 7 of their 8 matches. You'd lost both times to Kandy Falcons in the group, and then you beat them in the qualifier.
I think we have got this habit of beating the teams when we had to. If you remember last year, we lost to Gaul 3 times and in the final we beat them. But this was only 2 times, so I was not worried really too much about it. And we did it when we had to.
Although the 2 games I noticed against Kandy had been very close matches in the group.
Yes, they were very close matches as well. I think one of the both matches went till the last over, I think. And one of the matches in the last 2 overs, they managed to get 31 runs, which shouldn't have been the case. But again, as I stated, that is 2020 cricket for you.
But you still thought you could turn it round in the qualifier against the Kandy Falcons?
Yes. I was pretty confident that we will turn them around in the qualifier. One of the reasons being is when we plan our team and we play our initial game, we try to rest our players and make sure that they are out of injury or their injuries are minimized. Whereas the other teams, they just go full throttle and normally they don't rest their players and they get into situations where there are injured players and sometimes they can't even play the full strength. There was a game, I think the second Kandy game, which we lost to them. We were half strength really because we were resting players because we knew that we had qualified already and we were in the second position.
You think that's important in such a short period of time, and the competition started on the 6th of December and finished on the 23rd, to rotate players. So A, everyone gets a feel for the competition, and B, you're not overplaying players.
Absolutely spot on. Yes, one is resting, and the other thing is trying out players as well, and everyone getting a chance as well, as you said. Yes, that is absolutely correct. And we had at one point we had 3 games in 4 days in Kandy, so which is a big ask from the players.
Yeah, because they're intense matches, aren't they? 2020 cricket.
Indeed, yes, it's very, very intense games. Yes.
And you lost Tom Kohler-Cadmore because he was injured at the first game.
Unfortunately, it was a huge loss, I would say, but somehow we compensated and we managed to pull it around. But yes, TKC was a big loss for us.
You also scored the highest score of the tournament history. You got 240 in one game.
Yes, indeed. Yes, that was a superb performance by the team, and 240 is the record now. Yes, correct.
And the tournament was scheduled to take place in, I think, July. Was it due to the sort of turmoil in the country at the time, why it was delayed until December?
I think so, yes. That's why it was delayed, and that's the press release which was put out by the organisers saying that due to the turmoil that they are postponing it to November/December, but eventually it took place in December.
But once the tournament got started, everything went smoothly. You had 3 venues this year.
Yes, indeed. It went very smooth. We had 2 games in Hambantota, where normally we played the last 2 finals. And then we had 4 games in Kandy, and then 2 games in Colombo, and the playoffs and the final in Colombo.
And you had some star players, again, quite a lot of West Indians and Pakistan players playing in the tournament. And Mickey Arthur was one of the coaches.
Yes, indeed. Yes, there were quite a few star players from the West Indies. I think Carlos Brathwaite, Andre Fletcher, and Fabian Allen, all 3 playing for Kandy. And then there were other Pakistani players who were really good players in other teams as well, including ours. And yes, Mickey Arthur was with Dumble Ora. And it was good to have big names like that in the form of players as well as coaches and management.
Yeah, the UK are quite familiar with Carlos. He was the leading wicket taker in the tournament.
Yes, he was the leading wicket taker in the tournament, but obviously I think you remember the 2016 final where he hit 4 consecutive sixes of Ben Stokes to win the T20 final, I think.
Yeah, we do remember the name, as Ian Bishop said, of the
That's right.
2016 final. Yeah, we won't forget him. He's often on TV as well as playing, so he's quite familiar to listeners and viewers in the UK. Can you now see more of the benefits to Sri Lankan cricket of the Lanka Premier League?
I think I can see some benefits coming through, but only thing is they have to make some proactive changes. Just an example, which I was a little bit surprised, is as you very correctly said, Avishka Fernando and Sadira Samaravikrama were the leading run scorers in the LPL. And then immediately after that, Sri Lanka toured India, and both of them were in the squad. But they were not played for the first 3 games, and Sadira never played a game. And Avishka was brought into the team only later on. If I was in top management of Sri Lanka cricket, then perhaps I would have put the informed players to play immediately.
Yeah, because that series finished quite recently. India won the T20 series 2-1 and the ODIs 3-0.
Absolutely correct. This is why I'm saying these sort of batsmen, while they are in form, without keeping them on the bench, I think they should have played. But then again, they may have had their own reasons. But these are lessons to learn.
But you think the actual competition is helping young cricketers in Sri Lanka?
No doubt at all. In terms of cricket, yes, no doubt at all. And also in terms of economically, it gives them some money and some sort of money which they can't earn at that young age. They are earning through the game of cricket. You
must have been very pleased with the crowds and how much it must have cheered up the cricketing public and the public in Sri Lanka.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, that was a big sort of breakthrough after the pandemic for a local, I call it local, but for an international tournament held locally. the crowds were allowed in. Last year it was only 25%. This year full crowds were allowed in, but the stadiums were not full as such in the initial games, but the final was fully packed.
Yes, I was going to say the final in Colombo, there was a packed crowd there for that night, wasn't there?
Absolutely, yes, it was, and it was buzzing. And Colombo had the majority support, the game being played at Colombo. So I would say 75-80% of the crowd support was for Colombo. We had about 20%, but we were used to that because last year in Gaul, I think 95% plus support at Hambantota against Gaul was for Gaul, and we had minimal support and still we won it. So that didn't really shake us.
And is it settling down now in Sri Lanka? It's such a lovely place to go. I mean, it's a real tourist heaven, really, to visit Sri Lanka.
Politically and economically, I won't be able to really comment too much, but I think it will take a little bit of time to really settle properly.
But the tournament is only going to grow strength to strength, then?
I would say so. Year by year, I've been involved from the year one, as you know. So it has been growing, and my expectation is for it to grow even further.
And we mentioned this before in our other podcasts. How much is it helping cricket in the north of Sri Lanka, in Jaffna?
Yeah, it is helping, but not to the extent I would have liked it to. But saying that there have been economical issues and the pandemic which set in as well. But when the first year the tournament was held, I think there was, if that one turf wicket ground, but still we only have one turf wicket ground, but there are other developments taking place. But there are side wickets, about 5-6 side wickets, turf wickets have come up. So slowly but steadily things will change around. And no doubt Jaffna cricket is being helped, meaning a lot of interest is taking place, a lot of little tournaments are taking place. So yes, no doubt there is a lot of pluses for Jaffna cricket as well through the LPL.
So it's certainly spreading cricket around the country.
No doubt, indeed. Yes. It is spreading fast. Yes.
Personally, are you expecting to? You're proud there with your Jaffna, sitting proudly there with your Jaffna shirt on, your cap on. Are you hoping to be involved again in 2023?
That is the plan. That is the hope. But I'll play it by ear. But yes, that is the plan and that is the hope. And I'm also involved. I don't know whether you know, there's something called the Tamil Nadu Premier League. The same owners have a team in that. So we were champions in that as well last. In fact, joint champions because due to rain. But saying that, I've had 4 out of 4. So it is a great pleasure to be involved in the game, which I love so much. And I say to people, my passion has become my profession.
And was that in management again, or was that coaching?
Again, as a director of cricket and mentor. I was not managing the team as such, but I was in charge of the whole team as the mentor. So I was director of cricket and mentor of that's called Lanka Premier Kings. It's a regional tournament, but there were Indian players, some of the Indian like Ravichandran Ashwin and all, Dinesh Karthik, they all played for different teams, our oppositions. No, that was in Tamil Nadu, in South India.
So very high quality then, if you're getting the likes of Ashwin playing.
Yes, it's reasonably high quality. It's not international standard, but just below international standard. But they were international cricketers, as I said. And the teams where Ashwin and Dinesh Karthik and all played, they were not able to come into the final. We got into the final, and due to rain, really, we ended up as joint winners, a game which we should have really won as well.
But do you miss coaching now because you're moved more into management and director of cricket roles?
Yes and no, because the management role, I'm enjoying it with all this success. So I would say yes and no. But whatever tips I can give to people very quietly, I just say a few things to the coaching staff. But I don't get involved too much because that is their job.
What would you say are the secrets to why, in your role as director of cricket and team manager, Jaffna have been so successful? You must be learning more and more about the role.
Yeah, absolutely. The most important thing is having a balance among the team players and maintaining discipline and making sure they give 100% during the games. And a motto which I instilled in them right at the first meeting I had with the team, I still remember the foyer of the hotel in Hambantota. I use the term, my motto, the strapline, winning is not everything. Winning is the only thing. And some of them really appreciated, some of them were frowning upon it, but now they have got the gist of it. When I say winning is not everything, they think that I don't want to win, but then I go on to say winning is everything. And then now it has really stuck into their head. They want me to repeat that at team meetings after the end of the team meeting, just before going for games as well. Even what I mean by that is we play the game to win. Okay, if you lose, you can't help it. You have to bite the bullet. But the whole purpose of playing a game, whether I'm playing in the back garden with my brother or playing street cricket or a club match at Marchtown or Doddington or wherever, I'm playing only to win. But you have to really play to win all the time.
And you think now after 3 years, that's really embedded in the team culture?
Absolutely, I think it has actually. Not only with the Jaffna Kings, even with the Lanka Premier Kings as the mentor, I have embedded that in the heads of the coaching team as well as the players.
And 2023, is that liable again to take place in December? I mean, all 3 tournaments have been in December.
Again, they're talking about July, August, because they have penciled down a T10 tournament in December, which was penciled down for last year as well. So I'm not too sure about it, to be honest. Perhaps they will try to have it in July, August. We'll have to wait and see.
And the future, Harry, are you planning trips to the UK in the summer?
Yes, even last summer I was hoping to make it, but then things didn't work out due to personal commitments, and more than personal commitments, because of the Tamil Nadu Premier League, where I spent almost 3 months plus in South India. So this summer, hopefully, at some point, I should be coming that way and visiting the club as well.
And we've got the Ashes to look forward to, both men and women's, in 2023 this summer.
Yeah, that will be superb. Yes, absolutely right. That will be something to look forward to. And also, as I stated, October, November, the World Cup is taking place as well. Not in England, though, but that will be something nice to watch, because I have fond memories of that, watching it at Lord's, the final, England versus New Zealand at Lord's, in 2019.
How do you think Sri Lanka will go in the 50-over World Cup?
I think they are slowly building up. So I know they had a bad game only a few days ago, but I'm sure they will. That might have been a lesson to have some changes input. So that will lead towards some positive changes, and I'm sure they will compete well.
I wasn't going to mention that, being bowled out for 73 against India and losing by world record over 300 runs in a 50-over game.
I know. Yeah, that's the beauty of cricket. One day you will be top of the world, and the other day you will be at the bottom. So topsy-turvy, but I'm sure it will change around.
For the T20 World Cup, say Sri Lanka did qualify for the Super 12s, and also now have qualified for the 2024 competition, winning 2 of their 5 group matches.
Yeah, yes, and Sri Lanka also did well in the Asia Cup. They were champions in the Asia Cup ahead of India and Pakistan. So that was not long ago. That was in September last year.
Well, that's a good way to end it. Talking about, you got your own back there with the, I'd forgotten about the Asia Cup victory when you're beating the likes of India and Pakistan. Thanks very much again for joining me on the Paddock and the Pavilion. And no doubt next year we'll be celebrating the Jaffna Kings winning the trophy again for the 4th time.
Thank you. Thank you for your sentiments, Stephen, and thank you for this opportunity. And I would like to take this opportunity to say hello to everyone at Marchtown Cricket Club and all the other local clubs. Thank you, Stephen. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Paddock and the Pavilion.
Follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram at the Pad and Pav. Don't forget, if you like the show, please do leave us a rating and review.
Sports Social Podcast Network.